Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your February 2022 reading. I set the intention for this reading to be for Taurus Sun, Taurus Rising. Of course, if you're a Taurus Moon, you're also welcome. And cross watchers are also welcome. Because if you know any Tauruses in your life who might benefit from these messages, I would be ever so grateful if you would share them. And I feel like any reading that we watch, we can always absorb the wisdom and knowledge from them. So we started off with a collective reading, and Strength is our card of the month for February 2022. So this reading is just meant to kind of zoom in and see what aspect of strength that Taurus is working with for this month and kind of give you some more directed guidance. But if you haven't watched the collective video, I would recommend you can either stop this video now and come back later, or you can watch it afterwards. But there's really good information in it. And so far, I've filmed the Aries video and a lot of those themes came up for them. So it's really beneficial if you haven't to do so. So what we're gonna do is start off, we have Strength, and to just give you a mini review, Strength is all about showing up undefended and to really make friends with the parts of ourselves that are wild, and, you know, not be afraid to be vulnerable. And, you know, it takes a lot of strength to be able to make friends with this wild animal. Like I said in the Aries video, this apex predator, she would never be able to approach him or her, them, in this way if she came forward charging at them. They would attack, right? She has to show up, you know, this person in the card, and with calmness, with the ability to, you know, be fully embodied and aware of herself so that she can, you know, be okay. And this lion is an aspect of herself. It's almost like, you know, they are befriending and tending each other. So that is a big theme for February. And we're going to zoom in, and I'm going to pull a focus card of where you want to be, Taurus, for the month of February. So guides, if I can please have one card. Oh. Got 3 cards, but you know what? I'm going to take, okay. So your focus card of the month is the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay, so, you know, we're coming out of Venus retrograde on January 29th. So we just came out of that. And then here we go, February 3rd. I believe that's the date that Mercury turns direct. So, you know, this is more outward facing energy. But what I see as Knight of Wands is like, you know, it's so similar to the Aries video, actually. Some of you guys might have a lot of Aries in your chart. That the Knight of Wands is usually about movement, doing things that really excite you. But when it comes up in the reverse, it's like, well, you know, maybe I'm still processing and figuring that out from the retrogrades that just happened. You know, I got that sleepy energy in the Aries video, and now I'm still kind of getting that. It's like, you know, we're waking up from a time where, you know, we were going through some really heavy energy. And don't get me wrong, the energy is heavy in the collective still this month. The transits don't seem like, you know, we're getting closer and closer to the degrees of the Pluto return if you're in the United States. If you're not, it's still, you know, we're a global community. It affects the collective. And that's a really big deal right now. It only happens every 250 years or so. So, you know, I can see where a lot of this wands in reverse energy would be coming up. It's like, we're not quite ready to make some big moves yet. We're still figuring out where we want to go. So let us, I'm going to pull an oracle card before I pull your tarot to kind of zoom in and see what these two cards are actually like what message they're trying to impart together for your sign, Taurus. And one oracle card representing the message blended, strength, and the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay, we got one. Oh my God. Okay, this is the exact card that came up for Aries, digest your past. Okay, that is spooky. Yeah, it's like we're still processing, and I'm gonna try to shuffle and see if there's another one that wants to come out, because that to me is like, whoa. I can't believe that 2 times in a row we would get the exact same oracle card, and I shuffled these. Okay, no, that is your card. Okay, we're digesting the past, Aries and Taurus. So maybe Taurus and Aries have a lot of overlapping placements this month. And that's basically what it is. It's like maybe we're not using our outward energy because we're digesting all that we've experienced over these last, pretty much 2 months, because, most of December we were either in Venus retrograde or preparing for it. And, there was a lot of, Pluto action happening. Pluto is that deep underworld work. And, then we hit Mercury retrograde. Venus and Mercury are 2 very personal planets. So they're relational planets. We, a lot of things come up to be processed and healed and digested. So I guess it really shouldn't surprise me at all that these 2 cards this card would come up, and then you get, a Knight of Wands in reverse. I'm going to pull this one down here. So let's look at where you are at the start of the month. I get 1 card for Taurus. Where is Taurus at the start of the month? Okay, 10 of Swords. Okay, this is the end of a cycle of a way of thinking, or, where we're thinking about our past and maybe like past hurts that really, really stung, but the wonderful thing about a 10 is like, this is the end, and the sun is coming up over the horizon in the background. And it's like these same things that we have processed, we might still be processing them, but it's almost like they can't hurt us in this way anymore. They might still fucking hurt when they come up, and it might cause a little bit of hesitancy, but the initial pain of, those swords being stuck in your back, like, it can never be experienced that way again. It's like the initial shock, the initial pain of being stabbed in the back, or, hurt by a certain person or a situation, and if we're talking about Venus and Mercury, let's see, Mercury is Aquarius. So that is your, let's see, in Taurus, is that your 10th house? Or yeah, Aquarius is your 10th house, and Capricorn is your 9th house. So this is like in the realm of religion, in higher learning, and then also in, your house of your reputation, and in what you really have come here in this life to do. Like the 6th house is our job, but then the 10th house is like what we truly desire to be known for, like what we came here to like put our stamp on in this life. So it's like we might have had some really deep wounding around that from people and things that they've said, or the way that they've treated us, or, you know, the way that we might have said things to ourselves, you know, that made us feel less than. So it's like almost like we've learned these lessons, or we're processing these lessons, and we're really digesting it so that we can move through these cycles differently this time around. And let's look at a challenge that may arise this month. See, can we get one card for Taurus, a challenge that may arise during the month of February? Okay, the Seven of Wands in reverse. So what I see this is as being, it's like, okay, with 9th and 10th house energy, it's like you've experienced a lot of, you know, you've overcome a lot of victory, you know, a lot of opposition, and you have, you know, really had some hard fought and hard won, you know, battles in your life, you know, and you're really thinking about those things and the ways that, you know, you've had to really stand up and be counted and stand up for yourself. And maybe, you know, it has taxed your energy, and maybe thinking about it, you know, has really pissed you off. Like, you know, why do people always come for me when I have success? Like, why am I not allowed to shine? You know, like Leo, you know, Leo is all about, you know, like, why can't I have my day in the sun is literally what I just heard. So if you've ever said that to yourself, that's definitely something that's coming through, is like, why can't people just let me shine when it's time for me, you know, to have the spotlight? I always have to fight for it. Like, I've had success, and then people want to kind of come and eclipse me, and it really fucking hurts. Like, so that's definitely a message for someone. Take it how it applies. Like, if it was, you know, in the realm of like going to school, or, you know, if you had a job that you really, you know, wanted, or that you actually got, and then, you know, you expected people to be happy for you, and they were like, you know, oh, that's not that big of a deal. And it's like, no, it's a big fucking deal. Or, you know, you were the first in college to graduate, you know, from, you know, first in your family to graduate from college. It's like, you know, that is a big deal. It's something to be celebrated. Like, why can't I just not fight? It's like that, you know, that scene in The Color Purple, if you've ever seen it, with Oprah. It's like, all my life I've had to fight. Why does everything have to be a fight, you know? And that might be something that's challenging, is like, we're going over that in our heads and trying to, you know, kind of separate ourselves from people and situations that make us feel that way and think that way, because they put us in a state where it's like, we're not feeling ourselves. We're not moving through the world in a way that feels aligned, and that we can really show ourselves and show up authentically. So, you know, that's what the Seven of Wands in reverse feels like for me. And it's like, but we're in a period of digestion, and how can I, you know, because this is also a Wands card in reverse. It's like we might feel confused about, how do we actually do this? How do we take actionable steps to, you know, make sure that we are protecting ourselves? You know, we might feel a little bit undefended, you know, or that we're just fighting our own battles and we don't have anybody in our corner. But that may or may not be true. Sometimes in the reverse, you know, especially like the Ten of Swords, we're trying to teach ourselves to think differently, where we might have felt like we were, you know, all alone. And that might have been true in the past, but it's like going over these retrogrades, we have to remind ourselves, like, maybe that was the past and it's not like that anymore. And, you know, we do have backup, and it's up to us to be, sorry, I'm looking at digest your past, but to be vulnerable and, you know, reach out, where, you know, these Ten of Swords can make us a little less trusting of people, but reach out and say, hey, I really need backup. I need somebody in my corner, because this is not a battle that I feel like I can fight alone, if that makes sense. So let's see. How can Taurus tackle this challenge of feeling undefended? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. The Chariot in reverse. This is literally, I shuffled these cards till Kingdom Come, and you guys are getting one of the same cards that Aries got, except it was upright. Okay. The Chariot in reverse is saying, like, it's going to take some willpower, and it's going to take, you know, this card is ruled by Cancer. It's going to take some real, like, chutzpah, some bravery. And, you know, that is one of the real strengths of Cancer, is that, you know, vulnerability kind of knocks people off of their balance, if that makes sense. It's like almost like showing your vulnerability is your protector. It's almost like that can be used as your shell sometimes, and it may seem manipulative, but it kind of can throw people off balance that are trying to mess with you, if they are, you know, but just, you know, if they're not expecting you to say, hey, that really hurt me, because you're usually somebody who won't express, you know, even though this is not a Cups card, you know, this is about passion. Wands are fire, you know, fire signs feel deeply, you know, and any part that's tied to our sacral is very feeling. You know, there's a lot of orange in these cards. So it's like, if you're like wanting to hold back from a person, you know, because you're afraid to express yourself with this Ten of Swords, if you do the opposite and say, hey, like, you really, really hurt my feelings, or you did something that, you know, really reminded me of something in the past where I really couldn't trust someone, and this is triggering me. And, you know, if you want to be in my life, it's not acceptable, you know, whereas maybe the Seven of Wands, now I'm kind of seeing where that challenging energy may have been like, I don't know how to express this in a way, like, or in a timely manner. And then I'm kind of like stuck kicking myself, because it's like, damn, I should have said something, or damn, you know, like now it's, you know, 2 weeks later or 2 months later, and I finally figured out what I want to say, you know, and it's too late or something, you know. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. So take it as it applies. It's a general message. But it's, yeah, that's what I'm seeing, is like, you know, learning how to handle these things, like, and really put people on the spot, you know, is kind of like putting you more in balance and throwing them off your balance, so that you can turn this Knight of Wands upright. You can turn this Seven of Wands upright, and then you're going to feel less like you have to be in this Seven of Wands energy, and more like you're in that Six of Wands, which is victory and success. Because as the wands, just like the swords, as they, you know, get higher and higher, they get more challenging. So it's like taking some of that challenge off of yourself, taking some of that burden off of yourself, and placing it back where it belongs, because it's not your stuff. It's like baggage reclaim. You take your baggage back, because the shit's not mine. So that's what I'm really seeing, is like how to tackle the challenge is just like, no, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to take that. And, you know, this is not acceptable if you want to be in my life. And that will definitely help you move forward. So we're going to look at where Taurus may be by the end of the month if all of these messages are absorbed. And then we're going to clarify a little bit with some oracle cards. Okay. So where might Taurus be by the end of February? One card, please. Okay, that's too many. Let's try this again. Where might Taurus be by the end of the month? Oh. All right, come on with the shuffling. Okay. Oh, the Hermit. And this is actually our card for going to be our collective card for the month of March. So that's perfectly lining up where it's like, you know, Hermit can be a little bit of a solitary energy, but I don't always read it that way. Like sometimes the Hermit can be like, you know, a really wise figure. Like you have learned a lot of lessons in digesting your past and kind of taking life a little bit more slowly, but also learning how to express yourself so that you can flip this chariot upright, move forward with a sense of newfound wisdom that is authentic to yourself, you know. And just like I said in the Aries video, like these butterflies, like butterflies are a symbol of regeneration, of transformation, that, you know, you really will feel so much more, you know, different. It's not even that it's a full transformation by the end of the month. That's unrealistic, but it's almost like, you know, this is a process that's happening and it's just reminding you, hey, you're transforming, and it might take some time, but you're going to blossom and you're going to feel a lot freer. But butterflies are a symbol of freedom. You know, they were caterpillars who, you know, slithered on the ground and then they were in a hangman energy, you know, in the cocoon before they burst through the chrysalis, and they can fly away now, you know. So they're going to feel a lot more freer in their energy to move, you know. So that's a really beautiful message. So let me pull a personal power oracle for you. Oh, and that was quick. That will carry you through the month. I have permission. Okay, that lines up perfectly with this Seven of Wands, Ten of Swords. It's like, you don't need anybody else's permission to live your life. You give yourself permission. Like, in this moon on her hand, that's like intuitive knowing. That's like your high priestess, your higher self is telling you, you don't need anybody else. And this is a 22 card. That's a master number. That's like double high priestess and, you know, emperor energy. So it's like you're grounded and your higher self is leading you. You have double the high priestess energy that's telling you, like, I can do this shit on my own. I don't need anybody to tell me. I don't need anybody, you know, to give me permission to move forward with my life or to process things in a way that is true to me. You know, it's really just saying, like, you are the master of your own destiny. And, you know, it really reminds me too of hermit energy. It's like, I have permission because I'm wise enough to rule, you know, my own life, to, you know, be a full grown adult, where maybe, you know, people have put me in that role of the eternal child, you know, for a really long time in my life. So, you know, that's a really, really good message for you guys. And now I'm going to pull an oracle card that kind of syncs up between the Seven of Wands in reverse and your Chariot card in reverse about tackling your challenge. Okay, and it says, let this also teach you. And this one also came out, but it came out under, so I'm not going to put it down. But it says, release your assumptions as they are clouding your ability to see clearly. Okay, so that might have something to do with some of this Ten of Swords energy, the Seven of Wands energy, but it's like, let this also teach you, is like, there's a lesson in everything, in the good and the bad, in, you know, it's like, I have this deck called the Affirmators deck, and there's a card in there that says, thank you, assholes. Like, thank you, assholes, for teaching me, you know, important lessons. Like, it's really interesting. I will look for it and I will post it on Instagram so that you guys can see it, and I will say, you know, special message for Taurus because it's like, there are lessons in everything, and you know, it's there for you to digest. You just have to pay attention, and you know, you will be infinitely more wise for it. It's so worth it. So let's pull one more card. Sorry, this is running a little bit longer than I thought it would, but a card for our inner child and what they might want to say this month. And we have one card for Taurus's inner child. Okay, here we go. Got say yes. Now is the time to open up and receive. It may be somewhat unnerving, but if we are not open to the many good things in life, they might pass us by. Practice saying yes to what you know will stretch you, things you might be a little unsure of. There is abundance all around us. Sometimes we just need to make space for it to appear. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so you have permission to say yes to whatever it is that you want to say yes to. You don't need anybody to tell you or give you permission or say, you know, this is a good idea or it's not, because you already know. You're wise, you know, and at the end of the month, if you kind of, you know, take this for a test drive, you know, Chariot is the car, you know, it's like, you know, you're gonna feel that wisdom in action, you know. So I love this message for you, and that's all that I am seeing for this month. And I want to thank you so much for your time and your energy. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you feel that this message is for anybody else you know, please don't hesitate to share my channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you won't miss out on any of my future videos. And also, if you haven't checked out that collective reading, go ahead and do that, because there is more information that you might want to absorb for this month, and I trust that you will not regret it. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next month. Bye, Taurus.